So first, I think a first thing to get into here, you were there. You got there, how long before the show started did you get there?
All right, so they opened the doors at 3:00, and I really wanted to be there to see the feel, the atmosphere, which I love. I love WWE fans. What a night. Lots to talk about. So, I want to get a feel for the fans, because now I'm just in love with the fans. It's got this Comic-Con vibe. Wrestling fans are all dressed up, and everyone is a sweetheart, man. I mean, this is LA, and you got predominantly Latino crowd out there, and they're just diehard, and I'm from LA. So, you're pointing at shirts, you're high-fiving people, you're watching the clever costumes, and you're giving people props, and it's just such love. It's different than any other sporting event, which you can get away with high-fiving a teammate, at a sporting event, but there's animosity there. There's gangster sort of vibes. There's fuck your team attitude. It's real, but
yeah.
We're playing pretend, it's wrestling.
That's right. Yeah, that's interesting. The sports is more territorial, I would say. And some sports fans can be pretty aggressive. I saw some stuff in LA when I went to Dodgers games, and I can't unsee it. I was like, why is this happening at a baseball game? But
oh my goodness.
It's crazy. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, you're right, man. And obviously we're going to touch on the fact that I didn't really think about it beforehand with this whole Netflix deal, but this is the first time that Monday Night Raw is reaching a global audience at the same time, which is it's incredible, man. I would love to know a number, and I'm sure it'll come out at some point, the amount of eyeballs that are on this product now as opposed to last week before I think it was on USA Network, which is pretty unprecedented, because when you and I were young guys, I remember episode 1 of Monday Night Raw. That's how far back it goes with me. On the USA Network, I think it was from Hammerstein Ballroom in New York City, and here we are. The production value looked fucking insane on TV. God. Yeah, I'm sure the energy and just the vibe in there was, next level. What was it?
It was next level. It was everything I had hoped it would be and more. It delivered on all fronts. As a wrestling fan for so many years, I always want to see them raise the bar, and they do continuously for 40 plus years. And that's why I love wrestling, because it's always evolving. Sure, trailer park soap opera, okay, you can call it whatever you want from the beginning, or or the Cirque du Soleil carnival. It's got so many ways to describe it. And the fact that it always changes and evolves is just fascinating to me, because it's coming up, man. It's coming upstream. That's what wrestling fucking is, and that's why I'm so passionate about it. When we got there and they had this curtain around the ring, I'm like, man, there's going to be a new design. And I saw what they did on SmackDown. SmackDown's on USA, and they got the new blue mat, and I love that, because they're just adding that little difference. They went 3 hours, and they're adding that. Just those little changes make it more interesting to watch, and just a little iteration. It's like when you're playing video games, and a lot of listeners can relate, when you just you add a new character skin, or you just modify your character, and just that one little way that makes it different, makes it more interesting to play. I think they do that with SmackDown, and then with Raw, the black mat, they're putting all the sponsors on the mat, and they had this wonderful montage to introduce wrestling again to a new audience, and the way they spoke about it, and passionately, just it hit home. And then boom, pyro goes off. There's Triple H. All the lighting. There was drones flying somewhere over LA. I mean, they went all out. This is Netflix money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're dealing in a new stratosphere as big as any football game. This was an expensive event. And I don't think Monday Night Raw is going to be like this every week, mind you.
Of course not.
But it was top tier.
Well, I mean, one of the craziest things that I heard, The Rock mentioned this when he came out. We'll get back to him, but he said that this is the largest gate for a WWE arena event ever, which means that the ticket sales were higher than any other WWE arena event. I'm assuming that is excluding the outdoor stadium WrestleManias, but an arena, I mean, that's insane to think that. And you bought a ticket, I'm assuming, so you have a scope of how much they cost. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It was $4 bills, $3.91 out the door, taxes and fees. And I met a couple of guys next to me, a couple of young guys, 25. It was the one guy's birthday next to me. And this goes back to like, you can just sit and talk to anybody to your right. And I literally, it was like being on the couch with old buddies. The guy to my right, he was a diehard wrestling fan. He knew about wrestling. I could tell him anything. And he had a response, and he was cool with his girlfriend. To my left, two dudes, 26 and 25. One guy, it was his birthday, and one guy sported the other guy, footed the bill for him, and he also paid $400 a seat. This was literally last row 99. I'm at the top.
Okay.
But the Intuit Dome is really well done, where it's so steep. You're not so far from the ring, but you are high up. There's just every seat's a great seat in the house. Every one of them. It was the price of some of our early WrestleMania tickets.
That's crazy, man.
But I swear, Matt, it was worth it. And it's a great way. I mean, my birthday's next month. I asked my brother.
Yeah.
I said, hey, man, you got to hook a brother up, man.
Let's kickstart this thing. I love that.
Let's kickstart this thing. It's So I'm bookending this season with January 6th and April 2019 and 20, man.
That's great, man. Yeah, I love that. Okay, so let's get into this, and obviously I'm going to ask you a few more questions because you were live in person. What did we see off camera that we didn't see on Netflix?
Not too much.
Okay.
There's just the advantage of being there live and being able to put your eyes around the arena wherever you choose versus where the cameras choose. And
okay, were there matches beforehand, like the pre-card or the I guess dark matches? Nothing really.
No
that's
dark
shocking.
matches. It was 5 p.m. We started the show as you saw on TV.
Yeah.
And then they closed it out at 8 p.m. And then they went into the Raw post show. And that was it. It was cover to cover. People were wondering if they were going to do dark matches and stuff, but it was not that night.
Maybe they'll do it in the future. I kind of find it more special. I'm sure you do as well. The fact that they started in with just the fresh open, and I'm sure you had your guesses about who was going to be the first person out. I certainly did. I guessed right. Who better to open the show really than him? And how
it was smart.
Yeah, it was. How was that reaction in person?
Rock's pop, man. I mean, I've seen a couple of them.
Yeah,
I've seen a few.
Yeah.
That one was lit.
Yeah.
That one was one of the most electric. I mean, I don't think anyone thought they were going to open with him. That was all surprise. And the way they presented his character as, he was coming out as a member of the board tonight. He was just one of the execs tonight.
Right.
And he was out of character, quote unquote. It's so cool now to see how they can jump in and out of character, and it's real life and it's wrestling, and we don't care. We can blur the line, we throw the line out, we do whatever we want now. It's our world. It's crazy. That pop was huge. I mean, it's church, bro. I mean, I'm there, and Rock comes out. It's the guy who we watched, who was just another jabron trying to make it in the wrestling business, and he's turned into one of the world's biggest icons, and for good reason. Yeah. I think he's deserving of that place.
Of course, man. He was such a big part of that obsession that started for me with Attitude Era. And you think about, right. I mean, I think a lot of guys, I mean, obviously our age, who are into the product or into it because of that time period in the business. And to have a superstar like himself and Stone Cold Steve Austin in the business at the same time is, right. I mean, it's been described before as lightning in a bottle. And it really is, because you don't have two guys like that who transcend the business basically at the same points in their career. I really, really hope that we see that again in our lives. I mean, the guy is on another stratosphere as far as superstar goes. And to see him come out and hold his arm up and show the goosebumps shows you how much he really cares and how much he still loves the business. And that'll never stop. But to have him on the board, I guess, and able to make decisions is a really good place for the company to be.
Now tell me, what was your pop? You're watching Netflix. It's a completely new presentation. It's sleek. It's cool.
Right.
You're an old school fan.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, who starts the show? Boom. What's your reaction?
It's it, man. He's the guy. Whatever. Back in the day, I was probably a sophomore in high school when the Nation of Domination was doing their thing. But he was the guy that I saw. I was like, this guy, he's gonna be one of the guys. I mean, he's the man. Even though he's
Absolutely.
hated, it was something, man, it was just that swag that he had when he came to the ring, and then he gets the mic and he even ups it even more, like what he's presenting. And you realize how good he is in the ring, and he just captivates. It's funny, I was watching a YouTube video. I watch a lot of Maven Huffman's stuff. He's got a really good YouTube channel. The guy who won the first Tough Enough. He describes The Rock as being the only person he's ever seen in his entire life. And this is a guy who's interacted with a lot of WWE superstars, obviously, and people from this realm. He's pretty much come across everyone. He said The Rock is the only person who can walk in a room and completely captivate every single human being, behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, all that stuff. He's just got it, man. He's that guy. He said The Rock and Stone Cold, but he namely named The Rock, and I mean, you just see that. It's palpable. The energy is just, it's insane. One thing that I want to ask you on your personal thoughts and opinions, you already touched on this. The one thing that surprised me, and you said it very well. He came out as a board member. He came out as an exec, whatever The Rock is. Him acknowledging Cody laughing in the audience about Mama Rhodes, and then he goes over, embraces him, and they move on. And this is just, again, the lines are blurred, like you said. And a lot of people, a lot of fans, myself included, are old school in that way. And I have to say, I do miss the what would you call it, kayfabe, or the curtain being up and there being some mystery. But I just think nowadays, with the advent of social media and just everything else that goes on, as far as behind the scenes introspective that a lot of fans have, that we all have, it's just I don't see that ever coming back. Do you?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's now such a high profile item, wrestling and Monday Night Raw. I mean, the list of celebrities that were there, it was wild.
Yeah.
Travis Scott, and he's just rolling down, smoking a reefer, coming down the aisle.
It's California, man.
It's Cali, right?
That's right.
And it's Netflix. And it's Netflix.
Yes.
So there's no rules.
That's right.
But,
could you smell it?
I know. I was totally across the way.
Across the way. I was looking for you.
I could smell it if you smell what Scott was smoking.
Well, okay. Well, speaking of celebrities,
You set me up.
They're all there. My take on TV, the celebrity that got the biggest pop was Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah, man. It's nice to see Home Alone.
Fucking awesome, man.
Hanging out, man.
And he held it well. He had the hat down and he came up, and that was it. It was the legend himself, man.
Dude, apparently the Culkins are big wrestling fans, and I know Seth Green next to him was a big wrestling fan.
Yeah.
He's been involved. Look, there's a lot of wrestling fans that it's prevalent in hip hop big time. People just they poo-pooed it for so long, but now it's like, hey, you can't deny what we love, whether we're in the audience or sitting front row.
It's the unicorn of entertainment, I think.
Yeah, there you go, man.
And the fact that I mean, for sure. And I've dated girls in the past, and I've always been a wrestling fan. And one of my things is like, okay, let's take this person that I know that knows nothing about this world. Let's take them to a Monday Night Raw. See what they think. Every single fucking time, it's a hit. Every time.
It's a hit.
It never misses. So don't knock it until you try it.
I mean, you've got the movie making power of Netflix behind this entertainment brand. Now it's a marriage made in heaven.
It's amazing.
And I will use that cliche because it's literally, and so he was just calling out stars. Everyone was just being a star, and hey, there's Cody Rhodes. It was like, and we were just kind of being celebrities. That's it. We were just being celebrities. We weren't being our characters.
Yeah. One thing that struck me when I was watching last night was, I don't know how you feel about this, but I think it's an interesting thing to think about, is the power that this product has now, the Netflix power behind it, the machine, and how clean everything is, and how highly produced, and the money, and just everything is on point. And you think about the past and what this business was, and it was a little, not a little, it was much more, I would say, Wild West, if you want to call it. And I think these edgy superstars that have come up and become larger than life, Stone Cold, even The Rock, CM Punk is a great example. They're birthed out of this controversy of this business and almost its dysfunction, right? That's how these superstars and these personalities, they become larger than life because they're so driven to break through the bullshit. And is there enough bullshit now for there to be a new superstar?
Ooh,
you know, or is it too easy? Is it too clean? Is it too streamlined? That's one thing that I kind of see being a possibility and potentially a negative with the product in a weird way or possibility.
That's a great thought, man, because it transcends wrestling. I think that has to do with all forms of entertainment. If you look at, let's use rap artists, for example, when you're coming up and you're proving yourself and it's kind of, you're struggling to make it as a rapper, you know, it's not always an easy life, but then when you get the money, life becomes what you'd hope. But you know, your first few albums coming up, you're talking this talk about struggle and being on the streets, etc. And then you make it, and then there's a certain point where the albums start to change when you have money, okay? And the struggle's not is not there anymore. So the content changes, and you don't have to overcome as much. So it just, you know, what are we talking about now? I mean, so I think that kind of applies to what you're saying now, that wrestling is, you have the power plants or the performance enhancement centers. You have an industry that is just exploding, and there's so many people that can actually say, "Oh, I want to be a professional wrestler," and you could follow that career. That was non-existent several decades ago.
Exactly.
Maybe one or two, and so there's so much money in it, and whether it was Vince McMahon or everything culminated into this, it is what it is. And I don't know that you're going to have so many great struggle stories or a lot of controversy now that we're kind of on the other side now, where you get young people who are just really sweet kids who dreamt of being pro wrestlers and grew up in the suburbs, and they didn't really have to duke it out in the smoke-filled halls and get broken in and have their ribs busted and keep kayfabe. All that stuff is history now, and it's just going to be different. And it's just going to be, you know, something for a different generation.
That's right.
And we're going to be kind of the crotchety old cranky old wrestlers. That's, you know,
that's okay. As long as we're self-aware.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. But
and the younger generation is self-aware too. That's important. I've got to add that, because it all changes, it evolves, and I just think this is what it's evolved into. And maybe no superstars that transcend the business, because it may not be transcendable anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what I see going forward is better performances, acting-wise. You're going to see better gymnastics, and I was listening to a podcast, I think it was Busted Open, and Governor Ventura, he made a point that, you know, we were always wondering, let me try to do my Ventura here.
It's pretty good so far.
You know, well, you know, they were saying back in the day that it was American wrestling versus Mexican wrestling, which one would prevail? And he said Mexican wrestling, lucha libre, has been the style that has most been adopted. You know, high flying. I mean, you see people now jumping off the top rope. That's Mexican wrestling. So what are we going to see in the future, man? We're just going to see younger people who are way more athletic than we've ever seen, with better acting, hopefully.
It needs that.
That's what I want. I want wrestling to have better acting, but we're seeing that. We're seeing these guys. I mean, it's a stepping stone to Hollywood now. It's
right.
Clear as day.
Yeah,
you know? So
for sure.
That's what we're looking at.
And it might even, I mean, I think I sent you a text a few weeks ago. This might even supersede or pass Hollywood in a way, because this type of entertainment, again, back to a unicorn. You can't duplicate this with an artificial intelligence or something. This is live theater, and it's sport combined in such a unique way that, again, you can't manipulate this, and you can't duplicate it. right? This is
Yeah.
WWE has this on lock. Of course, there's AEW as well, which is highly produced, but WWE's in a different realm as far as this whole thing goes. And again, now it's got the machine behind it. It'll only get better. I look forward to the next superstar, kind of like a Daniel Bryan. I would say that is maybe not being pushed like they should, but the crowd is just rabid about them for whatever reason. And again, it's that X factor that we talk about that The Rock had when he came in, still has Stone Cold, these rare individuals that just shine for some reason, that unspoken, intangible, and these human beings will still be out there. And I think that's what we have to look forward to.
Yeah, they're going to come out with their own swagger, their own way of dropping catchphrases, and it's just going to catch on, and they're going to come up with a completely new way to carry the business, and they're just going to reinvent how we do this, and that is going to transcend the business, and they're going to become a star, just like The Rock did, and Austin. That's what they did. New catchphrases, a new way of being, new way of delivering blows, and just changing the industry because of their personality, and it's bound to happen.
That's right. And the audience essentially will fall in love with a person, and they'll let you know it. And that's what's so beautiful about this world, man.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so true.
And now everyone can get a shot now if you just want it bad enough.
Exactly. So we had four matches in this 3-hour show, which a lot of people would complain about. I have my ideas on it the more I think about it, which is not all negative at all. The first match was Solo Sikoa, Roman Reigns. My take on the thing before we talk about this match is, for me, I think Roman got the biggest pop of the night. Would you disagree?
Yeah. No, I think that probably was the best match of the night, arguably, between Punk and Rollins. But for me, I don't know, maybe for my tastes, because obviously it's subjective, but just the atmosphere of that moment, just coming out of The Rock and saying, now here, enjoy this match. I'll be watching it closely. And you're thinking, all right, he's downplaying the fact that he's the high chief, but it was all very confusing coming from storyline perspective, and then from what they had just done. I was spellbound. I was spellbound by the atmosphere. Solo Sikoa, man, I never liked someone more having not given a shit about them prior.
Oh, really?
He has really delivered in a role where, and now that he's been on the mic more and more vocal, he says great things. Like, he really is one of the brothers. He's an Oos. He's Rikishi's son, and he is so talented, and I think he is underappreciated. He played his role to a T, and I love him in the ring. I think he's great. I think he's a big time player, and not everyone gets to play this role. What a hand he was given. It's nepotism. He's part of the bloodline, but he's in there with Roman Reigns, and he held his own. And the match was fantastic. I don't think there was a moment that was off in the match. It was 5-star match, or we're doing a 1 to 10 scale, right? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, 1 to 10 if we do each match. The incremental points if you want, just to be a little more specific to it.
Yeah.
And to be clear, and I'm sure you would agree, the bar is high because we've been watching this for a long time. So if you, in my opinion, if you 5, 6, that's not that bad, man. This is going to 10, but there's a lot of competition out there, and eventually one day we'll go down and maybe do our top 5 of all time or something like that. But this is one night, 4 matches, and they've got a huge stage. Obviously, a lot of nerves and adrenaline involved, but this match for me was entertaining. It was nothing that blew my mind. I knew there was going to be a lot of interference. I figured Roman would go over. I thought it would be really weird if he didn't. Tribal rules for me, I don't need it personally. I think it obviously throws in a lot of different elements. I mean, it's a no holds barred match essentially, right? That's tribal rules.
That's what it is.
Okay. Yeah. Anyways, the ref's going to be knocked out at some point. It followed the
formula.
Yeah, it followed the formula very well. And these guys obviously, and you're right, man. This is the first match I've seen of Solo Sikoa in maybe since we went to Mania in LA. He interfered. What match? No, he was in the tag match against Zayn and Owens. Or no, that was the Usos. What match was
you haven't kept glued this year.
I haven't, man. I'm starting fresh.
This is the year he stood out the most.
Oh, he's broken out for sure. Yeah,
that's why because he took on the new bloodline, and I've been loving how they've fostered him as this faux tribal chief, which has been great because all he's doing is copying everything Roman does, and it's just a bad copy, and so hence he gets the heel heat. But he played it to a T. You're absolutely right. This was formulaic, and usually I guess I used to be more picky about matches, looking for high spots and stuff. But now I think as my tastes have matured, what's going on is I'm appreciating what they're trying to do. Okay. And not trying to look for what I didn't get or what I wanted.
Right.
So they delivered a very concise presentation. You and I both knew it was going to be tribal rules, which tribal, again, why call it that? Just say no DQ. Okay. All right. So, But given what we were going to see, what we would expect, I gave it a 9. I gave it a 9 because I liked it and it served its purpose. It did what it was supposed to. I was thoroughly entertained. They started out locked up like two bulls, and that's old school. And they went around the ring, and it was, they were banging the whole night. People were banging each other up. Yeah, I was watching it, and you could watch it back, and you could see it live. People were banged up. Everyone was cut and bruised, and they were not pulling any punches, even though they were.
There was a little bit of color in, I think, two of the matches. So
they had the run-ins, which I expected, and they even included a little cameo with the Owens and Cody segment. So it had everything, and I liked it. It was fun. I liked every bit of that, and it was a great punctuation mark to a long story, and I just thought the presentation was phenomenal.
Okay, you felt that live audience. I've always been amazed at the difference of being there in person and hearing the crowd versus watching it on television. Obviously, it's a different animal to be there and feel the energy and hear the people. And one thing that I wish television could convey is how truly loud it can be in person and how it's mind-blowing. And when you see it on TV, it's nice, but pales in comparison. That's all I'll say. For a novice who's getting back into it, always been a fan of the product, but I'm going 6.8 on this first match as
6.8.
6.8 as entertaining. I was into it. Didn't break the mold. Didn't reinvent the wheel. But it followed the formula and it did it well. And there were no errors. And they were good, man. I mean, these guys are Solo's not there by accident. Nepotism aside, he's clearly got it. And Roman is he's in that superstar stratosphere, man. He's on a different level. Yeah.
You've seen a lot, and the bar is high for you.
Of course.
This was pretty conventional.
Yeah.
And we weren't blown out of the water. And so I like that you're landing it there on that 6 teetering on a 7, which is accurate. Yeah. And I like my perspective too, because I was just so satisfied. I used to be really picky, but now I'm trying to appreciate what they're delivering.
Well,
so,
and again,
I like that.
The beautiful thing about this is you I think to your rating, you factor in emotion. You have to factor in your personal emotion. And where were you at this moment? First match of the night, this new product that's on Netflix. Right. It's a big fucking deal. So I get it. I mean, I don't want to negate what you said about it at all. But
no, I'm not. Yeah, I just like I like the difference there.
Good deal. So John Cena. comes out again, a surprise, I'm sure. Got a huge pop in person, I would imagine. Love the socks and the tennis shoes and the white legs. I love that look. He rocks that shit. What is he, mid 40s now? I mean, he's a little bit older than us, but he's just Cena, man. He's a special human being.
I was not a Cena fan after he went from being the thugonomics dude, which I thought was cool, to sort of the PG Cena that 5 moves of doom, and you knew what to expect. He was the Superman, he was the Hogan, and
that's right.
I'm a lifer, so I watched everything, and I watched every WrestleMania from 21 to 29, and it wasn't the bright spot of my wrestling fandom. But now he's being heralded as one of the greats, if not the great, the GOAT, because of his ability to show up and his ability to perform and his ability to knock it out of the park and carry this thing on his back. And I took it for granted. And he delivered, and I just was bored by the gimmick. I thought it was bland, and he was a little too cookie cutter and a little too milquetoast. But at the end of the day, I love John Cena. And now what he's turned into, this Hollywood superstar, I really appreciate that. And I like him now in this post-Cena era. I love this last time is now run. I'm going to appreciate him now.
Yes.
And so what he came out and did, he was heartfelt. He's sincere. He's brought sincerity. He's brought a lot of great mic skills to the table. And he's upped the game. He's created a new way to be champion that I think Cody Rhodes is following, and a lot of other people are following, because he changed the game.
He's on another level. I mean, mic-wise, in his consistency. I think anytime you get a superstar, The Rock reached his territory when he was in the height of his popularity. When the product is cramming these guys down our throats, we tend to despise them. And I think John Cena was a victim of that for years. And it's going to be interesting to see what other superstars fall victim to that. Cody could be on his way. Roman was there. People booed the shit out of him because the company was just like, no, this is our guy. Love this guy. Like, no, you're not going to fucking tell me what to do. But now the fans, I mean, how could you not respect John Cena and what he's done for the business and in the business? I mean, for me, I think it's inarguable that he's on the Mount Rushmore, because he carried the company for a long time, and he loves it. And he never failed. He never took his ball and went home. He was just the guy.
Right.
And I think he's just got a special character to his human being that really comes through. Yeah. Let's push to the only women's match of the night. Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan for the title. Liv comes out with Dirty Dom, and who's arguably the biggest heel in the company right now, I would say. If he which is funny.
Absolutely. What a star.
He shops at TJ Maxx too, by the way. The listeners wouldn't know that. We do know that. Fact. It's a fact. I can prove it. I won't, but I can. Anyways, so how'd this come across in person to you?
Oh, it was lovely. Again, this night wasn't a night necessarily of surprises as far as what we saw in ring. The next 2 matches kind of had a couple surprises, but this match was pretty by the book, and that's great. We've seen this match throughout the years, or throughout the months recently, and they've had a great feud, and they punctuated it with this pretty formulaic run-ins, but at the end it delivered. I thought there was enough passion. They looked great. Liv has completely transformed herself into a top-tier performer, and I'm just goo-goo for Liv. She just makes me smile.
Oh, nice.
And Rhea is just a phenomenal woman. I don't think they pair up well in ring, because Rhea's just a monster, and Liv, I think she leaves a little bit to be desired in ring. That's not to say that she's not just a formidable presence, but anyway, it delivered. I gave it an 8 because I liked what I saw, and I'm I'm scaling up this night with my ratings because I think the presentation was so
Yeah.
clean. They knew what they were doing. They, like I said, they had done these things a few times. They just wanted to deliver to the new eyeballs something that they knew was surefire winners. So.
And they did. We got a title change, which I think was satisfying for a lot of people. But yeah, you're right. The discrepancy there in physicality is undeniable. It's kind of like Dominic versus Braun Strowman. Anyways, no, I mean, obviously you throw the realistic shit out the window because this is what it is. And the cheating to win is a huge part of the business, and it's always entertaining. But yeah, I'll give it a 6-3, man. It was fun to watch. The lady that I was watching it with enjoyed this the most. She was very into it. That's what I love seeing is the girls. Whether you're like you're Harper, you go to these and you just love the presentation of these characters, of these women, what they're wearing, and it's very empowering, I would think, for a lot of young women to see athletes like this, and for them to have a moment to shine, an actual time, instead of what bikini and jello matches or whatever we got to watch when we were young teenagers. Which I'm not complaining, but it's good to see that it's evolved a lot.
Yeah, we were young, dirty perverts, but okay.
Yeah, man, that was a different time.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, cool. So we got that locked down. Let's push to Uso McIntyre next match. I didn't realize how over Jey Uso is. Holy shit, this guy! It's modern day Daniel Bryan, really.
The hype is there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fans following this guy, man, and it gets me out of my seat. I'm eating, I'm dancing. I recorded myself dancing. The guys, the next to me were like, yo, keep going. It was just next level. I mean, Jey Uso has turned into main event Jey Uso. And at first I was like, well, that's kind of a shitty moniker. Main event is so generic. But no, that's main event Jey Uso.
Yep, he's there. Yeah, and he stole the match. I mean, that was a surprise to me. I didn't expect him to go over here, but maybe continuation of this feud. Do you ever see Jey Uso being in the world title picture for an extended period?
Definitely.
Really?
Oh, definitely. See, he may get like, let's say, a Miz title run where, oh, cool, they made him champ or something like that. But where he's holding it down, I think that's going to come once you see Roman retire. Once you see Rollins retire. So a couple more years. I think he needs a good run with the IC belt and hold it down in that way because he's such a great mid-card and we're happy with him there. And we need solid mid-card wrestlers. Okay. But yes, absolutely. He will be a dominant champ one day. I think he's heir to the throne for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of new to me, this new wave of popularity. I mean, he's been in it for a minute. The Usos were around well before Roman came in, right? And Rollins and those guys. So they've been doing their thing for a while, but it's nice to see these guys have singles opportunities. Yeah, so Uso McIntyre, I don't know if it blew the roof off. It seemed a little bit milder on TV. I don't know if that came across in person.
So yeah, McIntyre delivers that Scottish Terminator style. He's a killer. He's in there. He basically all but killed Jey Uso until Jey Uso rolled him up for the pin, which was great. He was either playing possum or but he snuck in that pin. I give this match a solid 8 because I'm ranking high again this night, but it did what it was supposed to. It came out. Jey Uso shot out of the ring, and when I see that type of energy, I realize they're going for it tonight.
Yeah, I wonder. You can hear those chest slaps pretty well from the back row, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
so they fucking hurt. They land. Yeah, it was a physical match. It was good. I was surprised to see Uso slip in there for the win because I do feel like McIntyre, obviously I follow the manias and the pay-per-views that go on throughout the year. I love him as a performer, and I know this is part of the character, just him kind of constantly getting the shaft and obviously being fucked over by Punk this last year's Mania. But I want to see the guy succeed because he has all the tools. He has the ability. He's imposing as fuck. He's entertaining. He's athletic. He's got everything. I think maybe he lacks a little bit if you're comparing him to the greats. Just again that X factor and whatever it takes to be that top echelon. But maybe he can find that one day. Who knows? I got this match on a 6-5. So right there in between Ripley and the first match of Sikoa and Roman. And then after this, we got, some may call him the GOAT. I certainly wouldn't. But yes, he is on many a Mount Rushmore. And for some reason, he decided to come out and promote a beer. But we got Hogan. And I do want to say this. I love Hogan's entrance music. I'm always excited when it comes on. You know, when he kind of made his grand return, in the early 2000s, that was really cool. It makes me sad to see him physically in such bad shape. And then on top of that, you got the fans just raining down with booze. I mean, they're letting him know what you
hammering this guy. We were hammering him.
You were. So good job, by the way. And what were you? I'm sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's got one tear streaming down his face, I'm sure, as we speak because of his moment last night or lack thereof. But what's the reason? I know. I mean, I know the character this guy is represented over the last, year or two, whatever. I mean, the truth has really kind of come out as far as Hogan goes. What do you think is the reason for the majority of the booze?
Man, so much to say about that moment. It was, real quick note, Rhea Ripley, talking about these little blasts from the past cameos, she was graced by The Undertaker, which we sort of blew
how can we gloss over that? Thank you so much for bringing that back.
Yeah.
So the dong and then the American Badass, yes.
Right. Just real quick, because it's reminding me about all the great cameos. Just great to see Taker. To see Taker. I bring that up because in a similar vein, Taker got political this last year. He posed with Trump for videos, him and Kane, and hey, look, you want to stump for Trump? God bless you. I don't hate Trump supporters. That's not what this is about.
No.
This is the country we live in. It's about representing. And I knew Taker's politics. This isn't a political show, but politics are a part of life. And so if you're wondering about the booze, I think that Undertaker was going out there and saying, hey, you're going to go with Batista because he's with Kamala, or you want to go with Taker? And that's kind of the angle he was pushing. And that was all right. Sure, Trump versus Kamala, Taker versus Batista, fine. But Hogan was going out there, and I don't know if you saw any of his stump speeches for Trump, but he was saying some racist stuff. It wasn't over the top blatant racism, but he was saying things that were just, I don't know what's his name or where they're from, Puerto Rico or Mexicans. And I think, he just the way he's talking about people's cultures was disrespectful. And he was bringing up Kamala and wherever she's from or just, I can't quote, I can find it, I can pull it out, but most people know. And obviously, he was also caught saying the N-word, to his girlfriend, things like this. Yeah. So, look, people have blanketed him with this racist sort of moniker. Yeah. And I think that the majority of the booze from the people around me that were lighting him up were saying, yeah, this guy is a racist. And we're in Los Angeles. I don't think it's a super huge Trump-heavy city. So
probably not.
Yeah, probably not. So I think he got hammered because of his allegiance to Trump, because of the discrepancies he's had in the media, and just kind of how he carries himself, kind of just being a bit of a lowlife, as it turns out morally. I don't think as a human being he's a lowlife. I think he's a fine man. I'm sure he's a fine man, but as far as his wrestling career goes, after he left WWE and he moved to WCW, that was it. He was dead to me. I hated his guts. He was in WCW. He left WWF. He was on the opposite team. He was trying to put us out of business. I hated him. I hated everything he was about. The NWO was kind of cool, but I didn't pay attention to it. And now we realize in all these these tales in wrestling's past, he wasn't a great guy. He was out for himself. He helped, a few people. He changed the industry, but he was in business for himself. And
that's right. Yeah, I think he was kind of a master politician too in the industry.
Correct, right, and he had so much sway and so much clout, and he used it in a way to advance himself. And it wasn't necessarily about the business or the product or other people. Anyway, long story short, it's fun to boo Hogan just as a character. As a man, I don't wish him any ill will. I know he's had troubles with his son and with his marriages, and he had a sex tape, etc. And he's not, he hasn't made the wisest decisions. Right. But in the end, he's an old fogey out there ripping up his shirt, promoting a beer, and just trying to make some money. And then he rips his shirt and he walks out getting booed, and the shirt's at his ankles.
I know. I was hoping he didn't fall. I already felt bad enough. I thought he might fall, and oh my god, it could have been really bad. It
could have been bad, man. And Pat McAfee and Cole are trying to sell it like, well, he's the reason we're here today. And it was just, you can see the camera guy walking away was shaking his head laughing.
Shit. It was rough. It made me uncomfortable watching it at home. It really did.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't think anyone deserves to be cheered if they don't deserve to be cheered. And again, this is one of the positives. Had that curtain pulled back, and you see people for what they are. And Hogan, back in the 90s, 80s, whatever, probably had no foresight into any sort of discretion or negative stuff that he was doing behind the scenes being exposed. So here we are. I mean, you can call it karma, call it whatever you want, but it is what it is now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He made his bed, and he's getting his character is his destiny. And
that's right.
I do have love for the man, the character, and all those things, but I just don't think he's made wise choices. And
they're right. WWF, I'm sure,
WWF
would have gone out of business had it not been for Hulk Hogan. So you can't deny his impact on it, because we wouldn't be talking today. We probably wouldn't be going to WrestleManias or anything like that. This would not exist. I doubt. Which is quite amazing to think.
100%. That's why he's on the Mount Rushmore.
That's right, man.
I mean, I can still appreciate him for what he did for wrestling. I just love to boo the hell out of him.
It's a new favorite pastime. It's good. It makes for good TV. Nice.
I mean, where else can you boo? I mean, it was all in jest. I mean,
of course. Hey, he's getting a reaction. If it was crickets, that would be the worst thing for him. I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure his ego's bruised a little bit, but at least people care.
Yeah. But anyway, that's that. So let's round this out.
Yes. Let's do it. So we got CM Punk Rollins, the main event, which I was lucky enough to get on YouTube and motivate my lazy ass to watch the promo they exchanged from last week's Monday Night Raw. And
good on you.
Back to Punk, man. And Rollins held his own against Punk. I read the headline like Punk owns Rollins or whatever kind of bullshit that people put up there, but it was toe to toe. It was nice, and these guys really built this match well. And I mean, the two masters in the ring, as far as I'm concerned, man. This match for me, to jumpstart, this match stole the show for me. It was awesome. It was a great way to finish.
What was your rating?
Man, I'm putting this on a 7.5.
Okay.
Yeah. This is my highest score of the night, kind of by far.
Yeah.
But 7.5. I got this one at.
I realize I'm not getting an 8 or a 9 from you unless you're seeing something out of this world. Now, I like it. I like it. I like that you're hard to impress between the two of us, and I think I'm more like, hey man, if you deliver something solid, I will give you the rating. So this is not over. This is the beginning. I was shocked. And the reason why I gave it a high rating, I gave it a 9, it's because of the clean finish that they ended up giving Punk, which was mind-blowing.
Yeah.
I thought this was going to be a schmoz. They would blow up the match with some kind of DQ, some kind of run-in, some ref bump, because this was going to be the beginning of a long blood feud.
Right.
And it still may be that. But the fact that they're starting it out with a clean finish that could have been a WrestleMania main event, I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
Great match. They were banged up, high spots, off the top rope, neck breaker, jumping out of the ring, finisher after finisher after finisher, and they give it to Punk. I gave this a 9.
And maybe it's me getting older, being in my 40s now and feeling my body more than I ever have.
Okay.
I kind of get nervous when these guys get up on the top rope. Like when Punk does, like, ooh, man, I don't know. Like, it's amazing. Like Punk's, I think, like Cena, a few years older than us. The fact that this guy is performing at this level physically is pretty fucking awesome.
It was a badass match. It delivered. The whole night delivered. It was an triple A plus night. It to me, greatest Raw of all time.
Oh shit. Damn.
Yeah.
All right.
The feeling I had leaving that arena was, this is what I've always dreamed of. Walking out of a show feeling like this is the best thing out there. People have ridiculed me, family members, my brother, you watch that shit, and all that stuff. Isn't that for kids? And just looking down their nose at me. And
right.
Like, I want to say it hurts, but at the end of the day, I don't really give a shit. But still, you don't want people to think something that isn't true. All that fake stuff. So I walked out of there for the first time. And there's been other events like WrestleMania where I'm like, that was the great. People don't know what they're talking. Like that was performance at its best. But this night, I walked out, my head held up high. Like, we are a fun group of people. All these people in here, they know what they're doing. And I'm proud to be a wrestling fan. I'm proud to be a WWE fan.
Love that, man. Yeah, me too. This embarks on our road to WrestleMania. So it's a big deal.
It does, bro. We are on an adventure. We are on a journey right now. Holy shit.
That's right. I want to say they put a little thing up there. It's around 100 days. So that's a little over 3 months. Fucking crazy. Yes. It's going to be next level. And yeah, here it is at Allegiant Stadium. This is all going to come to it. You may see the score system bump up a little bit from me when that comes around. But who knows? I'm sure we'll have some hidden gems within there and the few Raws, some matches that just kind of slap me in the face in the best way possible out of nowhere. But yeah, it was a fun show, man. I enjoyed it. Yeah. And it's going to be really cool to see what this whole Netflix thing does for the product.
Yeah, this has been a journey, a lifelong journey. It's amazing to have a buddy like you on it with me. Finally, wrestling goes so deep with me. It's part of my culture. It's like I said, church.
Yeah.
And it's hard to explain to people when it's just a show. And now I can enjoy it on a level where we can be creative with it, with the debut of this stream. And it's so great to coincide with the Netflix debut. We're putting our flag in the ground. We're starting this new era, this new effort in our lives where we're being creative and we're living deliberately and we're dedicated to the things we love. And I just think by WrestleMania and by the end of this year, there's going to be a lot of fruit for us to pick in so many ways, bro. In so many ways.
Beautiful. I love it, man. That's a great way to end. I can't add anything to that, but I'm in it. Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
I got one last thing. Yeah,
what you got?
Bro. I got one last thing to add, and that is I have a special rating, and it was a 10 out of 10 rating, man. And I'm surprised you didn't bring it up, but it was a 10 out of 10 for Gabriel Iglesias' shirt, man. Man, that shirt, that fucking shirt, I got to have that shirt.
Okay. Great. Yeah, we're gonna get you that shirt. That shirt. I mean, if we get his on eBay, it's probably going to be a little too pricey. It'll definitely be way too big for you.
It's a blanket,
but it's cool. It's a classy shirt. It's classy tacky. Shit. I love it.
It is. That's what it is. It's classy tack. It's class tack.